Changing timelines are not always noisy. It doesn't come with flashing signs or dramatic changes in your environment. In fact, at first glance, everything may seem to be partly the same, but you are no longer the same person. What you are experiencing is not just change, it is a profound change that comes from within you. A silent recalibration of your personality, a quiet choice every time, one subtle realization after another, pulls you towards a different version of reality. A place where new possibilities breathe. It can feel like magic, or confusion, or both. But here's the truth. When you change timelines, you don't jump into a new world. You wake up in a version of this world, to a place where you are more aligned, more aware, more in tune with who you really are. And this change? It doesn't start with external chaos. It starts within the calm. The smallest ripple in the depths of your consciousness can change the course of your entire life. You will start to realize this through the choices you make. Small ones, like choosing peace over reaction, or bigger decisions, like finally moving away from a place that no longer feels like home. Each decision becomes a thread that weaves you into a new timeline. And as your inner direction changes, your outer world begins to reflect it. Not in obvious ways, but in subtle arrangements. The kindness of a stranger, a conversation that reveals something, the feeling of déjà vu makes you wonder, have I been here before? Or is this a glimpse into the emergence of something new? This is not just a moment, it's a movement. A frequency shift that starts deep inside and resonates in the fabric of your life. When you start shifting timelines, the world around you is not the first thing to change. This is the way you see it. The once familiar reality begins to shimmer with a different hue. One morning you may wake up with a quiet sense that something has changed. Things that once fascinated you now seem strangely distant. Passions that used to enlighten you may no longer bring joy. Why? Because your awareness is rising, your frequency is rising, and your soul is gently moving away from everything that no longer resonates with who you are becoming. This change is not noisy, it is intimate. It is the slow fading of the old self. It is the graceful dissolution of stories, roles, and routines that no longer fit. And while this may seem like loss, it is actually clarity. You may find yourself drifting away from the hobbies that once defined you, or you may feel strangely disconnected from relationships you used to cherish. Even the objects in your home, clothes, books, small symbols of your past, can start to feel like echoes of someone you are no longer. But here's the beauty of it. This disconnection is not a void, it is emptiness. It is the emptiness that is created within you, for something new, something more true, to take root. If you feel the dissolution, if the familiar begins to fade, ask yourself gently, what am I leaving behind, and what is quietly waiting for me to notice it? This is not the end of anything, the beginning of alignment. This is the natural rhythm of existence, a sacred tide where old energies fall like autumn leaves, making space for something new to bloom. This is an inner cleansing, almost like an energetic spring cleaning of the soul. Without any warning, you begin to see your world with different eyes. The landscape has not changed, the faces around you are the same, but your vision, your lenses, have been updated. Suddenly, things that used to arouse your anger or anxiety no longer affect you in the same way. You watch what is happening as a calm observer, not as a reactive participant. Your emotional reactions begin to soften, rooted not in fear, but in presence, What is happening here? You no longer live from the heavy frames of guilt, fear, or scarcity. You are acting from the heart, from trust, from love. This is not just personal growth. It is a complete rewiring of your inner operating system. As you shift timelines, the way you experience reality begins to evolve. The choices you make start flowing from a place where you are in deep resonance with your true self. You start asking different questions. You take different actions, and the world around you bends in response. You are no longer the one going with the flow. You learn to steer. You begin to embody a higher version of yourself. Not the version of you that reacts. Not the one that copes, survives, or pleases. But the one who creates. Leading with intention. Trusting the unfolding. At first, this way of being may seem foreign. It's like speaking a new language that your soul somehow already knows. Yet you will feel it in your bones. This change is real. This path is your path. You are no longer trapped in a timeline shaped by limitation and lack. You have stepped into a new dimension of possibility. A place where your choices resonate with clarity and your presence becomes your power. The emotional patterns and mental cycles that once dictated your every move now feel like echoes from a distant past. Faint, familiar, but no longer in your control. You no longer squeeze yourself into spaces that don't fit. You no longer perform for the versions of yourself you grew up with. Why? Because something inside you has changed. You have stepped into a new timeline, a timeline where your higher self is at the wheel. And this version of you doesn't chase or control. It listens. It allows. It trusts. You begin to navigate life with flow, not fear or force. Curiosity replaces judgment. Openness softens resistance. What about life? It no longer feels like a battleground for survival, but it is a vast journey to be experienced, literally, deeply, and curiously. And yet, this change brings with it a strange kind of in-betweenness. It's like being suspended in the air, is no longer tied to the past, but they are not yet anchored in the new. Familiar things begin to lose their weight. Memories feel like dreams. And what about the future? It glimmers faintly on the horizon, promising something beautiful, but not yet fully formed. This space in between can be confusing, even lonely. But don't confuse this with being stuck. This is not stagnation. This is alchemy. You're decoding old frequencies, releasing layers that are no longer useful, and tuning your whole being to a higher vibration. Think of it as the space between breaths. A holy pause, where the old breathes, but the new has not yet been fully absorbed. So here it is, in this quiet zone of uncertainty, is where your deepest transformation takes root. This gap between what is and what will be can feel strangely uncomfortable. A place where old anchors have loosened, the new roots are not yet fully established. It's confusing, isn't it? Feeling disconnected from what once felt solid, the future is shrouded in mystery and out of reach. But let me suggest this truth. Growth doesn't always feel graceful. Sometimes I feel like I'm unraveling. Like a caterpillar surrendering to stagnation, you are not aware that your wings are silently forming in the darkness. You are metamorphosing. What about this discomfort? It is something sacred. While it may appear chaotic on the surface, there is a deeper order emerging underneath everything. A divine intelligence is gently reorganizing your energy. It is guiding you towards a reality that is more in tune with your highest potential. You are not lost, you are being recalibrated. And as your vibration changes, something magical starts to happen. The universe begins to speak to you in whispers. You can start to notice synchronicities, a coincidental encounter, a repeating number, a lyric that feels like a message. At first, they may seem like strange coincidences, but when you look closer, these are the breadcrumbs in your path, signs that you are in alignment, winks from the cosmos. Keep going. You are warming up. And leaning into this change, as we trust the signs and soften towards the unknown, these subtle signals start to grow louder. The right people appear. Doors open that you didn't even know existed. Opportunities effortlessly align with the quiet yearnings of your soul. Even your difficulties begin to transform, not because they disappeared, but for approaching them with new eyes, with clarity, with power, with grace. This is what it means to live in a new timeline, to walk step by step with your highest self, to no longer be bound by the story of who you are, but moment by moment, to create a life that honors the person you are becoming. As you journey through this process of change, you may find that your relationships deepen in unexpected ways. Your career may take surprising, exciting twists and turns, while connections that once seemed shallow may begin to blossom with newfound understanding. Personal goals that once seemed distant or difficult may now appear with unexpected ease. But don't be misled by this. It doesn't mean that difficulties have completely disappeared. It means that you are changing the way you face them. In this new timeline, the weight of your old limitations no longer binds you. You have stepped into a reality where solutions appear more effortlessly, a place where your intuition is clearer and your actions are aligned with a higher, more purposeful sense of self. Challenges that once felt overwhelming, they now present themselves as opportunities for transformation. Roadblocks that once stood in your way, they have become stepping stones on the path to your greatest evolution. Through it all, remember this: patience is key. Self-compassion is your greatest ally. It is normal to feel disoriented at times, but every moment of uncertainty is a sign that you're growing, aligning with the highest version of who you are meant to be. Trust the journey, embrace the mystery, and know that every step you take brings you closer to a future that feels more you than you ever imagined. If you've stayed with me till the end, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What resonated with you, or what would you like to add? What topics should I cover in my next video, and what style of video would you suggest I do? Don't forget to comment and like. I really appreciate your presence here. I wish you a beautiful and expansive day.